Mr. Hodgkiss.
Hello.
The two of us need look no more. We have both found what we were looking for. They don't see as I do. I wish they would try to. I'm sure they think again if they had a friend like 10.
Hey, very good. That's a very clever use of a Michael Jackson lyric from the 70s.
Like, what do you mean?
That was, oh, did you write that yourself? Sorry.
That's just my opening sequence. I don't know.
Oh, sorry. I thought you'd...
There's no copyright.
I thought you would...
There's no copyright infringements at all, Craig. That was just literally me saying that you are like an episode 10. Welcome to First Little Gnomes, listeners.
Hi.
Hello.
So, the point and the purpose and the mission of this podcast is to try and bring a little bit of joy into people's life. My good friend Cornish Dan, Mr. Williams, and myself, we will generally take a first look at something we've either done, something we have seen, somewhere we have been, something in the news, something that's happened, and just basically talk drivel about it for an hour or so, with the sole purpose of just being what I would like to think of us as a companion podcast. Two dads from Britain who use this as a good excuse to have a beer and chat together because we've both got young children and wives and jobs and commitments and responsibilities. So yeah, the whole point of this podcast is for us to get together, have a look at something new, chat nonsense, and hopefully bring a bit of joy to your lives.
And what we do each episode is we go to the fish pond of feedback.
Oh, cue sound effects.
Cue sound effects. Grab your tackle.
Grab your tackle. Yes, this podcast has a lot of innuendo as well because we're both still there.
Why are fish so smart, Craig?
Why are fish so smart? I mean, it goes against all knowledge that fish are smart. I thought fish were a bit silly, but why are fish so smart?
Because they swim in schools.
Yes, we should also tell people during this podcast you will hear terrible dad jokes, of which Williams is the king.
So yeah, we've got our big fishing rods. We're fishing by the fish pond of feedback. What sort of music should we listen to
today? I'd like a bit of R&B down by the fish pond of feedback.
That's something catchy.
Something. You know what I should have said, Williams? You know what I should have said? A bit of soul.
So yeah.
A bit of soul. Missed an opportunity there, didn't we?
We did.
Never mind.
I reeled you in, didn't I?
You reeled...
Special thank you goes out to our number 3 gnome fan. Who has helped us go live on iHeartRadio, which is only available to North American listeners. But you can now access your First Look Gnome listening pleasure on iHeartRadio, as well as other
streaming stations and platforms are available. But hello, iHeartRadio.
So hello, new listeners from iHeartRadio. Hello, new listeners from Greenock, Inverclyde, Hackney, Luton. Congratulations to Luton Town.
Ah, yes, that's such a result for Luton. Unbelievable. What a story that is. I was reading on the BBC again, other news websites are available, about their 10-year story from non-league to the Premier League, and you just think that is fantastic.
That'll be Wrexham in 5 years.
Probably will. Well done, Luton.
Well done, Luton. Welcome to new listeners from Webster in New York.
Oh, hello, Webster.
Welcome to new listeners. I presume this is because of your visit there, but... in Florida, a place called Pompano Beach.
When I was over there, I did no promotion on the podcast. I didn't listen to the podcast. I basically forgot about all life outside of holidaying. Maybe that was because of the podcast awards that were on over there. Maybe that was possibly it. Maybe the First Little Gnomes podcast was mentioned in corridors. Have you heard about this amazing podcast? This podcast that is basically just the best podcast ever.
And also welcome to a new listener from South Sea, Portsmouth.
I love Portsmouth. So Portsmouth will always have a place in my heart. We went, so it was one of the first places my now wife and I went on a date, and we went up the Spinnaker Tower, and
Yes.
I bought a pair of sunglasses, which were my favourite ever sunglasses, which I've lost.
Sad.
But had such a lovely time in Portsmouth. What a great little city that is.
Lovely city. Yeah, so welcome, new listeners. So, like I mentioned, you're in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I presume, I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but we're going to take a first look at Disney.
Okay, so my first look today it's not just Disney, it's actually just Orlando. So the city of Orlando, the surrounding area of Orlando in the state of Florida in the United States of America. So we were there for 2 weeks. So this was the first time I'd ever been to Florida. It's the first time I'd ever been to Orlando. It's the first time I'd ever done one of these types of holidays. So I will give the listeners a bit of background to why we ended up there. It's so, as we've probably anyone who's listened to this podcast for a few weeks now or a few episodes will know that I don't want to talk us down on this, but we aren't the coolest of people. You know, we talk a lot about geek stuff. I think on the last episode I talked about Star Trek. You know, we are not cool and trendy people. We are just in a certain crowd.
Yeah, certain niche.
A certain niche of people. My mom thinks I'm cool, so that's all that matters. But we do like a bit of our geekdom. We like some of the we do like some of the brands. So. But Florida, Orlando, Disney World, Universal Studios had always kind of been one of those places that I felt was a little bit out of reach. So, again, not to give my age away, but I am approaching a big number with a 4 and a 0. So when I was a kid in the 90s, I remember seeing adverts for Universal Studios and just thinking, that's amazing. It was the E.T. ride, the Back to the Future ride, Terminator, all these things, and that looks amazing. But in the 90s, I lived in Wolverhampton. I was one of 3 children. The prospect of going to Florida on a holiday was between 0 and none. So it was never really on my radar. And then kind of forgot all about it. Grew up, did holidays in the Med, like normal British people. We go to, so for anyone who's listening outside of Britain, the traditional British holidays, we go to Spain. You go on an all-inclusive holiday to a hotel. You fly with Jet2. You go to Costa Brava, Costa del Sol, the Canary Islands, and you have a week in the sun, and it's lovely. And the Mediterranean is beautiful. So Florida never been on my radar, but then as you do, you get married and have a wife, and the wife. My wife had been to Florida a couple of times with her family, and it was they'd not just like her and her mum and dad and her brother. It was her mum and dad and brother, aunties, uncles. Like this was a big thing for my wife's family, and so my parents-in-law had always said they would like take us and the grandchild there. So we had always said, well, we need to rob a bank first. And we obviously want Brain to be a certain age before we take him there, because otherwise he'll be too young. So the time came and we finally had saved the money, planned the holiday, done all the planning, and we got ourselves to Orlando. Hey. Now, pre-going, there was certainly an element of trepidation where I was like, okay, I'd been warned. I'd been warned about the parks. So for those who don't know, Orlando has Disney World. And Disney has 4 theme parks and a couple of water parks. The theme parks are Animal Kingdom, Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and another one, Hollywood Studios. Epcot, that's the one. Epcot was the first one I went to as well. So it has these 4 big parks, and they're all kind of, big. You have to go and walk around them all. And then Universal Studios has Universal Studios, and it has Universal Studios Islands of Adventure. So it has 2 parks, but those 2 parks are linked together via Harry Potter World, which in itself is effectively a day. And then there's the water parks, and again, it's not like just any old water park. Like one of them's called Volcano Bay, where they actually have a volcano. Like it's America.
So did you manage to spread it out, or was it like day?
Oh no. So yes, the good wife had it all planned out meticulously. We're going this day, this day, this day. So we had the car hired, we had the tickets booked, we had the dates planned out, and it was like a military mission. So as I say, before we went, there was apprehension like, this is not, I could just do with a week sitting by a pool, reading a book, listening to a podcast and chilling. And this was a holiday that was not going to be like that. And it wasn't. It was not, I wouldn't even call it a vacation. I'd call it an adventure because it wasn't relaxing. Like, this was not a 2 weeks of relaxing.
Early starts, late nights.
Oh, most days we were out on the road by 7 and we were home by 11. So, and I was doing all the driving. So we had a minivan, like 7-seater minivan, and I was averaging about 6 hours sleep a night and 25,000 steps a day and 34-degree heat. So again, we live in Northern Ireland where the average temperature is about 13 degrees. So going from 13 to 34, quite a jump. First week we did all the Disney parks. Second week we did the Universal parks.
That's a lot.
It was a lot, but
amazing. That's a lot.
It was kind of amazing. I'm still kind of processing the whole thing.
I was one of the privileged kids.
Oh, were you one of them? Yeah. Were you one of them privileged kids?
I went when I was 8. So, but yeah, I imagine it's changed a lot since the 90s.
Do you remember it though? Do you remember it well?
Oh, yeah, one of those magical memories. But yeah, it was.
So that's good because we want Brayton to have those magical memories. Ooh. So that's good.
Yeah, I'll take Logan there one day, but he's too young.
It is definitely so. I'm very glad that I had my arm twisted to go because it is a once in a lifetime kind of thing, and it's a bit. I don't know if anyone listening may have been to Las Vegas. It's weird. It's like, okay, there's an Eiffel Tower and an Empire State Building and these massive hotels and casinos and clubs, and it's like in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
Disney World and Universal Studios are kind of the same. They're like, okay, we're in this kind of tropical climate in this massive state. And these parks are just insane. Like, insanely big. So even just driving into... So the first week when you drive into... The first day we drove up to Disney World, we're going to Epcot. And there's 4 parks. And it's almost like it's got its own roadway. So you take the exit off the I-4 and you know, Mickey Mouse is there, and it's so clean. Like everything, as soon as you pass under the archway, it's like everything is immaculate. It's like an IKEA showroom. It's just stupendously clean. And you go in and you park, and this car park that's the size of 100 football pitches. And you have to remember, right, we're parked in, I don't know, Simba A, row 501, etc. And then you have to get a shuttle bus to the park, and then you get through the park, and it's just the scale. So
ridiculous, isn't it?
Anyone who's never been, I was arguing with the wife. I was like, yes, okay, it's a theme park, but there's theme parks in England. So in England, we have Alton Towers, we have Chessington, we have Legoland, Thorpe Park. I was like, it's going to be more of the same, isn't it? It's going to be rides and roller coasters. And I was kind of pushed back and like, no, it's kind of different because of the theming and because obviously it's all encompassing. And Disney's a global brand, and the brands that are Universal are global brands. They're not kind of the Chessington is kind of British brands, so you kind of see the Gruffalo ride, and they're not necessarily global things that you can get excited about. Whereas at Disney, you're going on, you know, a Star Wars ride, and it's just the scale of it. And the budget that they've put behind the park to give you an experience was just, I didn't expect it to be quite as good as it was. So I'll give you an example. So we got there on day 1, and anyone who hasn't been to Epcot or wants to go to Epcot and doesn't want any spoilers, turn off now. But so again, the wife was meticulous with her planning. She got us on the morning we're going to Epcot. She got up at before 7 o'clock to get us in a virtual queue for the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. And again, up before the holiday, she had been watching various videos about, you know, tips for the parks, etc., etc. Brain had been watching ride things, and I was like, nope, I don't want to know anything about it. I just want to go and experience it for the first time. So we get there, and the first day we're in Epcot, the first ride, she gets a ticket for like 9 o'clock, so we go straight to this Guardians of the Galaxy ride. So this is my first experience of a Disney park, my first ride. And you go in, and we also had like a lightning lane thing, so we could zoom through, and we didn't have to keep it very long. So we get to we go in the queue for Guardians of the Galaxy, and of course, if you queue for a roller coaster, you just in England you just kind of queue and you wait. This was like there was like a queue, then there was like a pre-show, and there was like a pre-show, and then there was the ride. So you get in there and you're like, okay. So you go through you go through the normal queuing bit. And there's kind of scale models of all the ships from Guardians of the Galaxy, and there's things on the screen where they have got like the actors from the movie talking to you, so it was almost like they were being interviewed, and you could you're watching like a TV episode of Guardians of the Galaxy while looking at all these cool scale models. Then you go into this room, and they're prepping you. So it's like, okay. Oh, welcome people of so-and-so. And they've got Glenn Close and Terry Crews are doing the acting. And you're in this chamber and they're telling you about what's going to happen. And you're part of this expedition to the other side. You get these portals are going to take you across the thing. And then you go into the next room ready for the portal and something goes wrong. Ooh. So then you're like, oh, okay, so you're all part of it. And you kind of play up to it. And there's actors in there who are like, oh, Flip, come on, we've got to get you through here. We've got to get you through here quick. Come on, evacuate the room. And then you get on the ride and they're like, right, we're gonna fling you to the other side of the galaxy. And then something happens and then you're on the ride. And I got on the ride and I sit on the ride. It takes you forward. It's a roller coaster and you start to go up like a traditional roller coaster. Like you go up a hill. And then you get to the top. And then you stop because something happens. And then there's a massive, again, no spoilers. If anybody doesn't want to spoil the ride, don't listen. There's a massive explosion and it flings you backwards. And then rock music starts playing. Yeah. And you're going through this roller coaster and it's in the complete dark, but there's lights playing and there's kind of holograms or screens or something. So the story that you're on, the Guardians of the Galaxy, they're fighting these people and they're trying to save you, and you're spinning around it. You end up spinning around a planet or the moon, like backwards, and you're in this ride, so you're going backwards, but the car that you're in is also spinning. Yeah. And like the sound of it is brilliant. The aesthetics are brilliant. The story is brilliant. The surprise and the shock was brilliant. And I was like, they know what they're doing. So this whole thing, like from pre-show, so it's the newest one at Epcot. It only opened like last year or something, but the kind of the 35 minutes that I was in the experience from pre-show to pre-show to actual ride was so much fun. Yeah. Like you just have to lose yourself in it and be like, okay, that's not like a ride at Alton Towers. That is not just a roller coaster. And that was the first ride. And I came out and I just was like, I said to Leslie Ann, I said, that's not what I expected. I expected a little roller coaster that turned me upside down. This was a whole effing... It was different level. It was different level, and it's just scale and budget. Yeah. So it's like you can clearly see that the people there who are putting these rides together have been, instead of being given like, all right, we need to make a roller coaster for $200,000. They're like, how much you need? I need 10 million. Fine, just do it. It's just dirty, ridiculous, filthy scale and budget, and it's all the people from the movie. So you've got like Chris Pratt and all the characters in there, and you go like we went to one of them. So when I saw a Lion King show in the middle of the day, and it's like a West End quality Lion King show that lasts half an hour, and it's just we'll do this half an hour. Just go and see this ridiculous show with fire breathers and trapeze artists and the best singers you've ever heard sing and the best kind of animatronics you've ever seen. And this happens to be 5,000 people auditorium, and we all just go and sit in there for an hour. And you just think, this is it's a side act during the day. The stage must be 100 meters wide, and that's just the start of it. And then they move the stage and there's another set behind it, and it's, I don't know, I didn't know what to expect, but I didn't expect it to be quite as batshit crazy as it was, but also just as enjoyable. Like, we did have a great time, there's no denying it. The kid had a great time, wife had a good time, grandparents had a good time. I would say I think Disney World was better than Universal. So week 1 Disney, week 2 Universal. So we did 3 days at Universal. We did the Harry Potter experience, which we did. So that's across 2 parks. So you got Hogsmeade, you've got Diagon Alley, you've got a train in between them and takes you between the 2 parks. And the rides there are really good. The rides are fantastic. The rides in Universal Islands of Adventure are fantastic. Universal Studios I was a bit disappointed with, but we did do the ET ride, which is like one of the original ones from like the 90s, and it was great. You like sit on a bike and you go around and you basically part of the ET movie.
Do they still do? Because I remember as a kid, it's quite amazing. You went through the whole ET ride and you end up flying and things like that.
What's your name?
At the end, ET says, it's exactly. Thank you, Craig. Thank you.
Yeah.
I remember looking to my mum.
Yeah, it's exactly the same ride as it was. So we went there. We went on the ET ride last thing of the day.
Is it? Oh,
and it was about half an hour before the park closed. So we actually went on it 3 times in a row because I was disappointed in Universal Studios. I was like, we went on the ride. So we went on the Minions ride, did the Transformers ride, did the Jimmy Fallon ride. And all of them I was a bit like,
Jimmy Fallon, right?
Yeah, they're all the same though. They're all these kind of like 3D kind of simulators, and I was like, none of these are proper rides. And
is this after Disneyland?
This was after Disney, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So Universal
was set quite high at that point.
They had, and I didn't mind Universal, but all the rides were the same. Apart from we went on the ET ride, which was still a practical ride where you sit on this bike and it carries you through. Yeah. And yes, you have to tell them your name when you go in. So when you go through, it's like, goodbye, Craig, Leslie, and Brayden.
As a kid, I didn't realise we gave the name at the start.
It's mega clever. But ET ride was without a doubt my favourite ride in the whole Universal, even though it's 25 years old or whatever, however old it is. But because there was no queue for it, we did it, and then I said, "Oh, that was brilliant. Should we do it again?" And Brian was like, "Yeah, let's do it again." Leslie was like, "Yeah, let's do it again." So we went straight around, got straight back on, did it again. Then we got off. I said, "Come on, one more time for good measure," and we did it a third time. So we did the ET ride 3 times in about 25 minutes.
Wow.
But compared to all the other the new stuff, I was like, it's so much better than the newer rides. Now, to be fair to Universal, the Harry Potter world at Universal is unbelievable, and Universal Islands of Adventure is unbelievable. Like the Jurassic Park stuff, the Hulk roller coaster and the Jurassic Park roller coaster. Now, they're just, I don't know, mental. Like proper, just awesome roller coasters. But even just the Jurassic Park world, the theming around it and stuff, it's just pretty cool. So,
are they your typical roller coasters?
So no, the Jurassic Park Velocicoaster it's not a typical roller coaster. It kind of has a thing where it goes up and then down, and then you're upside down for a bit, just over where the people are standing, and it's just a bit crazy. And the Hulk roller coaster is just big. It's called the Hulk. It's just big.
So did you did you do like Magic Kingdom? Did like the old school typical Disney stuff, so like the Peter Pan ride and
did the Peter Pan ride? Did the It's a Small World ride? So we actually did. So what we did, because we had 2 weeks. So the first week we did all the Disney parks. Then we did 3 days at Universal, and then we went back to Magic Kingdom for the last day, because Magic Kingdom was quite big, and we split that park into 2 days, which was good. But they've also got a new ride there called Tron, which we rode, which was I say new ride. It's like an old franchise, but the ride itself was brilliant. It's a speed ride. And it was class. Nice. It was really, really fun. But yeah, we did all the classic Disney stuff. We saw a snake. We went to so Brian wanted to go to Tom Sawyer's Island, which you get a little raft across to this island, and there's caves and stuff and mines to go through. And Brian and me did that.
It's still split. Adventureland.
That's it. Tomorrowland and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So it's still the same. So Tom Sawyer's Island was in Frontierland, I think, and you get this little thing across to this kind of this island. And Brain and me went. So this was just Brain and me. So Leslie Ann, her mum and dad went to see something to do with the Little Mermaid, and Brain and me went over to Tom Sawyer's Island, and we come out of this mine shaft, and there were signs everywhere saying like, this is this is Florida, this is water, this is an island, you may see snakes, you may see crocodiles. And Brian was like, nah, of course we won't. We came out this cave and there was an 8-foot long, big, thick as fuck snake. And Brain literally stopped and froze in fear. Oh. And I was like, "Oh, it's a snake!" And I said, "Don't worry. As soon as we move, he'll go." And I said, "Come on!" And Brain was like,
Was it an actual snake?
A real snake, genuine snake, just on the path, because it was quiet. There was no one there. There was only me and Brain there. It was about, I don't know, it was maybe about 5:30 in the afternoon. And the snake had obviously thought, oh, everyone's gone for the day. Because this Tom Sawyer Island, you get a little raft to it, and there's no rides there or anything.
Because Florida's a hot, very quiet place as well, isn't it?
Oh, it was, yeah. It was 33, 34 every day and sticky. Humidity's like, some days is like 90% and stuff. So, we saw the snake, but the snake, balked and was like, whoa, go away, and ran off. Didn't try and attack us or anything. But it was, that was cool. I thought that was really cool and great for Brain to see. Just like, no, that's an actual snake who's just chilling out.
Animatronics, actual.
No animatronics, yeah. But again, even like that, so Animal Kingdom, they've got like a safari ride, and they've got elephants and giraffes.
First opened, it was like the first year that it opened.
1998. Yeah. Good knowledge there for the Disney fans. Again, I've just been, so it's fresh in the memory.
Yeah, so I went. So that was because I was, like I say, I was a privileged kid. So that was the second time I went to Disney.
What? You and Leslie Ann should go out together and eat your caviar and talk about how privileged you are. It's just the second time I went to Disney in 1998.
But not been since though. So let's go again.
Okay.
Yeah,
serves you right.
So obviously you've done a lot. And I actually listened to, because we like to rip off other podcasts. I listened to a bit of it's called Journey to the Magic podcast, and on that they do your Dream Disney Day. So, obviously with what you've done, let's talk about your Dream Disney Day, Craig. And it doesn't necessarily have to include bits you've done. You could, if there's stuff that you realise that you saw whilst over there, then you can include that.
No, I can tell you exactly what my Dream Disney Day is. It was
first of all, what they do on the podcast is, are you going to Disney World? Are you going on a Disney cruise or Disneyland Paris? I presume Disney World. Disney
World, Florida. Yeah.
Where are we waking up? So I don't know where you stayed, but would you stay at one of the actual Disney resort places if you had money was no object, obviously?
No. We had a villa, and I liked that because there was one night we got back and there was a thunderstorm, and we had a pool. So I went and got in the pool about 11:30 at night. A couple of bottles of beer. It was pitch black. So above us. No, not in the thunderstorm. No,
because that just reminds me. So when I got as a kid, when we were in Florida, and my parents went in like a jacuzzi hot tub, and they were watching the thunder and lightning.
That's exactly what I did. So that was it. So we had this villa. We saw a couple of cracking thunderstorms. But
listeners, you should not go in water in lightning storms.
But the thunderstorm was probably a good 5 miles away. Just to put that into perspective. Above me was clear sky, so it was so dark that I looked up and I could count 100 stars, and I was like, oh, that's Orion's Belt, that's a Big Dipper. But in the distance, there was to the north, there was one thunderstorm going on where the thunder was in the clouds, so the clouds were glowing red. And then to the east, there was another thunderstorm where you could see the fork lightning. So everyone went to bed, and I was like, I'm going to go get in the pool. And I had a couple of bottles of beer, and I was floating on this kind of like inflatable chair, and it's still 29 degrees, and I've got a beer, and all I can hear is the crickets.
Living the life.
I was living the life, so all I can hear was these crickets, like chirpy crickets, and I can see 2 thunderstorms happening, and I can see all the stars above me, and I'm like, this is flipping awesome. So no, I wouldn't go to a hotel because that was probably the most. That was really fun. That was like just an hour where I was like, this is really pretty cool. I couldn't do this back home.
Nice. So you wake up
in my villa.
breakfast. Wake up, you're there. What are you having for breakfast? Or what are you having for breakfast when you get to Disneyland?
No, I'm having porridge for breakfast because you got to walk on.
Porridge?
100%. You've got a big day ahead of you, Williams. Lots of steps. You're having porridge, and you have carb loading, and you're putting some bananas in it and some honey, and a massive jug of coffee, and you get yourself ready to go. None of this. You seriously?
Did you have any American coffees?
Yeah, we had a lot of coffee. We had Joffrey's coffee.
Did you have no, I've not heard of that one.
No, it's a Disney World one. So we had a lot of coffee. There's a lot of cold brews, nitro cold brews, and all these kind of random stuff. But no, in the morning we just had like a proper standard coffee machine where you just make like 10 cups of coffee and you just pour a pint of it.
Called? Do you have any of those? Or do you have
IHOP. We did go to IHOP one morning, but again, you've got to be careful, Williams, because I know it sounds ridiculous, but you're on your feet all day. If you go and eat a big, filthy, sugary breakfast, and 90 minutes later, you're crashing because you're like, oh, flip. And the time is important, so you can't be doing that. You've got to treat it like a marathon training.
Did you?
We did, yeah. So we did. We ate good breakfasts, and yeah. We fueled our bodies the right way.
And where you going? Where's your first stop?
Epcot.
Epcot, yeah? Epcot is the one.
It's the one I'm starting at purely because Guardians of the Galaxy ride was there, and it was the best ride I've ever. It was the most fun I've ever had on a theme park. And then after that, we're going to Tron at the Magic Kingdom.
Nice.
Then we're going to Hollywood Studios.
Simulator type thing, Tron? Or?
No, it's a roller coaster. So it's like a bike. So you kind of, but you accelerate. You go from like 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds. It's like a bit like Rita Queen of Speed, but it's just, I don't know. It's just well done. Yeah. It was just cool, and it's a very quick ride. It only lasts like a minute or two, but it's just like it's so smooth. Yeah. It was like going really fast on a, I don't know. Just something that's really smooth. It was you can't really explain it. Some of the roller coasters were like rickety and you bone shakers. So trying not to go on again, I would say the Star Wars ride. So Rise of the Resistance was just, it was again that's up there with Guardians of the Galaxy. It was probably the most fun I've ever had for 40 minutes because you go into this thing and so again in this one. You're in a queue, so you're waiting for the ride, but you're in a shuttle part, and the shuttle, there's all 3D screens, and you're getting taken off planet, and then you get intercepted by a Star Destroyer. So then the next part, you get taken off as prisoners, and again, the staff members are like, "You rebel scum, come here," and they kind of get you off, and then you're on a Star Destroyer starship hangar. So again, you're not on the ride yet, but you're in a massive hangar, and I mean like. There's like 100 stormtroopers, and you feel like you're in space.
You must be geeking out at that point.
Yeah, I was geeking out at that point. And this is before the rides even started. Then they march you over to the cells, where you're in your cell, and then Kylo Ren comes, and he's on top of the cell, and he's trying to use the Force on you, and to try and get you to talk. And again, this is still the queue, so you haven't actually got on the ride yet. This is just the pre-show, and then when you get transported out, so the Resistance then come and rescue you, and then you're on the ride, and you're in this kind of machine, and you're driving through this starship. And you're being chased down by Kylo Ren, and you get in this elevator, and then his lightsaber comes through the roof, and it's just like it's mad. You can't explain it. It's like you really can't explain just how batshit crazy that it's the thing that it's the stuff of pure imagination. It's like being part of a film. And then you eventually get out of the starship, and then he's chasing you down, and I don't know, the whole thing lasts about 45 minutes, but me and Brain got right into it. We were like, you can talk to the cast members, and you're like, you give them abuse. I'm like, give them some banter, tell them they're the scum, not us, and the
character greets. Who you meeting? Who's the?
We went to Tusker House to meet the Safari, Mickey, and Goofy. I did that again. That was good. That was really good. Breakfast was great. Food was great.
I presume you learned what you should do if Donald throws a ball at you.
No, what should you do if Donald throws a ball at you?
Duck!
I knew that was coming. Classic bad joke. But yes, we'd meet all the characters, and Animal Kingdom has Avatar and the world of Pandora.
Right.
And again, you can't explain just batshit crazy. That's how I'm going to explain it. Apologies for the language, but it is because if you've ever seen the movie Avatar, you know the floating islands and the floating worlds.
I'm not seen the new one, so the first one.
Have you seen the first one though? So you know all the floaty bits.
Yeah, the floating
Like-
bits.
They've actually done that. Like you walk into the world and there's floating islands and like
That one's the documentaries they have on Disney Plus. Yeah.
I don't know how they've done it. It's sheer. Well, I do know how they've done it, but it's just sheer scale of it. You're like, I'm actually in the world of Avatar, and the rides in Avatar are great, and the animatronics are amazing. And the Avatar ride, where you kind of, it's like a simulator. So again, you're on the back of a banshee, and it's simulating riding on the back of a banshee, but it's just so well done. You get morphed into a avatar, and then you ride this banshee, and it's like a 4D ride. So you're on the simulate on the bike, which is moving, but you've got you can smell stuff and the spray and all this kind of stuff, and it's just like, again, it does make Alton Towers look a bit kind of like, okay, that's a ride. This is an experience. That's the difference. I think they're not really rides at Disney; they're experiences.
So you've been on all those rides. Mm-hmm. Must be lunchtime.
We're going to the Rainforest Cafe. So we went to the Rainforest Cafe when we're there, and I loved it. That was in Animal Kingdom, but they've got one at Disney Springs as well, which is like a shopping area. But so in the Rainforest Cafe, when it rains, there's actually thunder and stuff in the restaurant.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
And there's elephants and tigers and stuff in there, and it's just a bit mad. But the food was great.
Obviously, it's amazing as an adult, but Braden must have had an amazing time.
He's still not himself. He's come back and he's just like, you can kind of see in his face, it's like,
what's his normality?
yeah, what did we just do? Because it was full on. Like, he's never experienced that. Like, he's very regimented with his bedtime, with his getting up time, with his time he has his dinner. You know, it's kind of, we run our life a bit clipboardy and
life in terms of like percentages. Yeah, you know when they say when you're older, a year goes quicker because it's a smaller percentage of your life. For Braden, that's a big percentage of his life at that point.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's reality of him at that point. And he's an amazing time.
He did have an amazing time, and he was so well behaved, and he loved it. And you know, it was. I'm hopeful that when he's older, he's like, you know what, that was pretty cool. Actually, you know, at the minute he won't appreciate it.
No, but like I said, I still talk about it 30 years ago, wherever, you know, however old we are.
Yeah.
I still think about it until about now, so it's, yeah.
Well, the biggest thing was because, like I said, with Lesley-Ann's family, her mum and dad, Lesley-Ann's mum and dad, so my mother and father-in-law, because they did it with their kids, they really wanted to have that. They knew it. They know what it's like, and they knew they wanted to give Brain that experience. So I'm just glad they were able to do it, because he would always say, went to Disneyland with, you know, Aggie and Gaga and had a good time, and, you know, they doted on him. Obviously, they spoiled him rotten because, you know, the grandparents. Yeah. So, yeah, it was really cool. So, yeah, first look at the whole Orlando holidaying experience. I would say it was nothing like I expected. It was better than I expected. It was a little bit mad. Obviously a lot of stimulation, a lot of visual stuff to look at, a lot of brands to kind of enjoy, and I'd like to go back kind of just quietly and just look at it all, because we went in a bit of a whirlwind. So it'd be really nice to go and spend a month there and just say, let's look at all the nooks and crannies, because it is something else. It really is. Did
you do like the parades and things? Or?
Yes, saw the parades, saw a few parades. Saw lots of shows. So we saw like different shows like Lion King, Indiana Jones.
It's crazy because obviously you're there, that's like your day, but then when you step back from it, they do that every single day.
Well, yeah, we saw the main parade, So we did Magic Kingdom twice.
Yeah.
And the first time we saw the parade, and the second time we saw the parade, we're like, we made a conscious effort to kind of say, is that the same person dressed as Gaston? Is that the same Belle?
Yeah.
And Leslie Ann's a lot better. So no, that's a different Ariel. Oh, that's the same Belle and stuff. And you think, yeah, you're having to get into character. But I suppose it's the same as the West End or Broadway, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you are a show person, if you're a professional singer, dancer, actress, actor, and you're on doing Les Mis twice a day, every day, 7 days a week, or 6 days a week, you probably think, oh, that must get repetitive. But at the same time, if you love it, if that's your kind of profession,
It's still a stage, isn't it?
it's still a stage, absolutely. And I mean, everyone was cheering them. The princesses were so good. So you can see all the little girls in the crowd, and the princesses are like, reaching out to little girls, and I know it sounds very corny to say, but it is quite magical. It is pure make believe. Now I'm a big WWF fan, like the wrestling, and that's pure pantomime and make believe. And Disney's just the same. It's just, I think if you try and overanalyze what it is, you'd be like, this shouldn't exist. Like WWF, these are men in pants smacking each other with pretend chairs. But if you just kind of say, you know what, it's just fun. It's the whole point of this is just fun, and obviously to make money for Disney. But it's just meant to be. It's just an enjoyable experience for people, and you let yourself go into it and embrace the madness that it is. I think it's fun. It's not the real world. But it is fun.
So you had a lovely time.
We had a lovely time. It exceeded my expectations. I think everyone who was there had a good time. I will always remember it as, it was something I never would have done without. Again, this is one of those things. My mum and dad always say this, like having 3 kids.
Yeah.
They've done things that they never would have done. Like my sister lives in New York. Another one lives in the Northwest. We were obviously in Canada for a bit. Mum and dad have done things because of us kids. I would never have done Disney World if it hadn't been for Braden and my wife and my wife's mum and dad. And I kind of always remember thinking, you know what? That's just brilliant, because I never would have chose to go there. But I'm really glad I did. So, yeah, had a great time.
Hey.
And I would recommend it to anybody who can do it. Go and do it. Embrace it. Experience it. Yeah, it's. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Well, there you go.
So that was my first look, William. Sorry, I feel like I've talked a lot there.
Well, no, that's the main first look, really. But sorry, it's not actually. It's the warm-up act.
To your first look.
The actual warm-up act. So, as you might remember, I went on holiday as well.
Oh, while I was away?
Yes.
I didn't know this at all. No, I didn't know.
No. So Disneyland is a lovely warm-up act to my holiday. So when I was away, I went to the Mary Harriers Garden Centre near Bideford, which is a gnome reserve.
You actually went to a gnome reserve?
I went to the gnome reserve near Bideford.
You are embracing this podcast.
me and the fiance.
Fiance.
We went to a it's a country club.
Very nice.
As I said, I had a privileged upbringing.
Yes, 1998. This is my second time to this land. Here, what did you do this weekend? Country club.
Yes, in between visits to Florida, we used to go to a little country club in Devon, and
you're a country club.
And but yeah, so whilst we were up there, so me and the fiance were quite lucky to go there for a few days. And whilst we were up there, we thought, well, there's the gnome reserve, which actually has moved to a garden centre. So we moved there. It's a pastoral. It's described as a pastoral refuge for garden gnomes.
It sounds class. That was fun.
Yes, it was a reserve established in 1979 by Anne Atkin, who was a former art student.
Oh, very nice.
He set up a reserve for garden gnomes. So,
And did you just, was this one of these things that you had planned to do? Or was it just, oh, that's there, we're going to have a look at it because, it's we run a podcast called First Look Gnomes.
A bit of both. So we knew we were going there. We knew it was nearby. I thought, we probably should. So,
and how was it?
well, whilst we were there, Mr. Hodgkiss, the fiance recorded a bit of audio. So I'm going to try to share that audio with you.
Here we go.
We've seen this on the podcast.
Just for our listeners, he's screen sharing with me now.
Well, yeah, you can say what you want. I'm probably going to cut this bit out.
Okay.
But not that bit.
Here we go.
We're in the deep, dark depths of the gardens. I've got gnomes behind me. I've got a pond with fishes in it in front of me. There's a very, very large life-size gnome with a very pointy hat and quite a lot of naked bottoms.
Very pointy, actually.
Very pointy. A lot of the gnomes are pointing up with their finger. We don't know what they're pointing at. And there's an unnecessary amount of naked gnomes.
That one's got his backside out.
That one's got his bum out. Very large pond of feedback, I'd say.
Very large pond of feedback.
Very large pond of feedback. Look at that frog spawn. That is a lot of frog spawn. There's some fishies in the pond of feedback and a lot of spawn.
Tadpoles.
Tadpoles, yeah, they're not frog spawn anymore actually. They're tadpoles. Full on tadpoles.
Do you want a picture of the gnome?
Always want a picture with a gnome. If that was recorded. She might have gone that way.
Lots of gnomes over there, actually.
Look at all of these tadpoles. So are they all going to become frogs? Sorry if I sound a bit stupid here. Are they all going to become frogs? Where are they all going to go? They can't all live here.
Just to pause the audio, just to mention just how lovely the British countryside sounds. There's so many birds tweeting. Yeah. It sounds so idyllic.
Lovely day. Yeah.
Lovely day. Anyway, I'm going to click play again.
Do they hop away? Or is it like survival of the fittest?
Slows them.
They're at tail no leg stage as well for the listener.
Lots of tadpoles.
Tail no leg stage. Okay.
Sorry to pause it again, but when we're talking about tadpoles, have you seen the Hey Dougie episode with the tadpoles? Oh,
no.
When it comes, I'm telling you, one of the funniest things you'll ever watch. Hey Dougie, for anyone who's not watched it, watch it.
Okay.
It's one of it's a kids show.
Hey Dougie,
that the parents can enjoy.
I'd like to reassure the listeners that if you hear any child crying in the background, it's not ours who's asleep.
I was going to say, is that Logan crying?
There's a gnome riding a pig.
Now these two look like they're out of a Terry Pratchett novel, these two. They look like they're on
and some gnomes with shields and things.
Spears,
hats. There's a gnome with his mouth wide open.
That one looks a bit like he's up to no good in the bushes. Goodness me, you've never seen anything like it, have you? There is a number of duplicate gnomes.
A number of duplicate gnomes?
Yes. That's not a gnome, that's one of the 7 dwarves.
What's that one doing?
Tai Chi.
Check a picture.
I don't know what that noise was there, but it sounded like you were putting on a latex glove. What are you putting on latex gloves for, Williams? Where you look at the gnomes
bottoms,
and then naked
bottoms. Bottoms out.
There's the gents and ladies.
Ladies, gents. The loo.
Yeah.
What it was?
There's 2 gents on the loo and the other 3 are having a wee against a wall.
Look at them. Look at the tadpoles.
There's hundreds of them. I'm enjoying them.
It's a whole cluster of them there.
I feel like you could lose hours of your life just watching little tadpoles.
Pardon me?
Daniel.
It's a whole cluster of them there. Could you take a picture of me with the gnome, please?
Hang on, this one. How's this work? It's just a black screen.
No, do I stop recording?
Don't know. I'm a podcaster.
Is it even still recording?
I don't know. I'm a podcaster.
Oh my gosh.
She's right, you are a podcaster.
As they fast becoming worldwide gnome spurt.
Why do gnomes have their fingers up
2 more naked ones.
and their bums out?
Well,
Oh.
these ones out. What? What? Fingers go on.
Very good.
Very good.
Very good, Williams. As was the last words of very good, very good, very good, very good. Few observations, Williams. Few observations from first look, first observations. It sounds like the pair of you were having a lot of fun. It sounded idyllic.
Yeah, that was,
there was a dog barking. There was birds cheeping. There was kids crying. It sounded like
there was a lot of bums. Yeah, so basically the
Saturday afternoon activity for a British couple.
As you can imagine, it was around a little lake, which had a lot of tadpoles in it. Was the main.
Sounds like a lot of bums.
There was a lot of tadpoles.
You enjoyed the tadpoles.
But yeah, most of the gnomes, which I was meant to research for this podcast, all the gnomes were doing this. For the listeners, they were sticking their finger up.
And did you find out why?
No, I didn't.
One time they were doing a Stormzy. One time for the Lord.
We need to research that. But all the backsides are out or fingers are up.
Just clarify. Clarify what bums is, because again, in the UK, bums means something, but in North America, bums means something else.
In America, it's fanny.
Oh, I thought bums was like just like a scrub, like a bum. You're a waste of space.
Back,
yeah. So just clarifying for North Americans that in England or in the UK, bum means bottom. Your ass. Yeah. No, you can't say fanny. Williams.
They call it fanny in America.
Don't.
They do.
The bottom's the fanny.
You know that.
No, I thought it was bum bag was a fanny pack. But I didn't know it was because of bum. You don't call... Did they call the ass the fanny? I just thought it was... See, again, I remember Keith from The Office saying they don't call it a bum bag, they call it a fanny pack, and they don't mean your minge.
Yeah.
I remember that. What, eats a Scotch egg?
I'm pretty sure they call the backside the fanny.
Do you remember that? That was funny. I didn't know it was fanny was ass. Okay. So bums, ass, bums, ass, fanny, minge. Let's just say all the words. Bums, ass, fanny, minge. Bums, ass, fanny, minge. Bums, ass, bums, ass, fanny, minge.
I could be right. I will do some research before I release it. Yeah. About 40
clarification. Bums and fannies are not the same thing unless you're in North America. Apparently, we could be wrong. Please let us know if we are saying things wrong. But you enjoyed the gnome reserve.
It was lovely. It was the sun was shining. Logan was asleep. The birds were tweeting. The insects were doing what they do.
Just mirandering around.
It
sounded like you had a good time. Thank you for doing the audio. It's nice to have. It's nice to get behind the curtain look at yours and George's time together. And it sounded like, again, fair play, because listeners, just to remind you, Georgie and Dan have recently had a young, beautiful baby boy called Logan.
4 months.
So you know what it's like when you've had a kid. It's hard work. So to be able to go out as a family and enjoy some time together is important.
It was lovely.
It sounded like you were all having a good time, and that's class. Lovely. Well, thank you for recording it. So you enjoyed yourself? You would recommend going to the Gnome Reserve if you've got nothing else to do?
If you're near Bideford, yes, you should go. If it's a toss-up between Disneyland, Orlando, and the Garden Centre Gnome Reserve...
You're not comparing apples and oranges, Williams. Ooh, my nan would have happily preferred to go to the Gnome Reserve than she would have preferred to go to Disney World.
Well... Listen back to previous episodes. Your nan probably preferred quite a few.
Well, yes, that's true. God bless her. God bless her soul.
Yeah.
Well, I have a couple of quick looks. Have you got another one, or is this
that was it? Because I knew you had a big one.
I wish. I have a couple of quick ones. So first one is I'm going back to a first look that we've talked about before, which is virtual reality. So this week there's a game. So again, I touched on earlier that I'm a bit of a geek. There's a game I've been waiting to come out on the PlayStation Virtual Reality 2, PSVR 2. And it's a game that came out about 4 years ago on the Meta Quest, which is owned by Facebook. It's called Beat Saber. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. So you remember back in the noughties and the early 10s, there was like a lot of rhythm games, a lot of dancing games, music games, like guitar rock or rock guitar and all those kind of things. So Beat Saber combines lightsabers and rhythm, and you basically have on there's lots of different songs. So for example, The Pretender by the Foo Fighters, right? And you have in your hands two lightsabers, a left lightsaber and a right lightsaber, and blocks fly towards you with arrows, and you have to slice these blocks in time to the music and duck and dive and slice and cut. And I don't know why, but it is unbelievable fun.
So you're holding,
it's so ridiculous,
your saber,
but it's brilliant. Yes.
And you're beating it, and you're
Two
beating
sabers.
it to the rhythm of a song. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Most songs last about 3.5 minutes, and you finish.
Time.
Yes. You finish, but then you have to go again really quickly, Williams. And they're like, what do you want to do next? I'm like, calm down, mate. I just finished. But you have to go again, Williams. It's demanded. And, when it's demanded that you go again, don't you? Do you know what I'm talking about? Lightsabers, Williams. So, yes.
That's true. Is it?
In virtual reality. Just to add. So... sorry, mother. Sorry, mom. And so, yes, no, genuinely, though, the game it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I don't really know why it works or how it works or, what's going on. But I had a first look at getting my hands on Beat Saber. I don't know why.
So it's been long.
So just viewers, listeners, just to fill you in, Williams is crying. Every time I say Beat Saber, got my hands on it. I suppose it could sound a bit innuendo. So, sorry, mother. Sorry, mom. And so, yes, no, genuinely, though, the game it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. But that was the first look at Beat Saber. I'll move on from that one. We've had the Chelsea Flower Show this week, which has been enjoyable.
I thought that was later than year.
No, it's been on this week. So for viewers not in the United Kingdom or people who don't give a monkeys about gardening, the Chelsea Flower Show is a very, very privileged. I'm surprised you went there, Williams, to be honest, with all the privilege that you had. So the Chelsea Flower Show has been enjoyable this week. Lots of flowers, lots of plants. And I've enjoyed. There we go.
What's the cliffhanger this week, Sarge?
The cliffhanger is
the gnome is perilously balancing on the edge.
I suppose it's how quickly can I finish beating myself?
Oh, dear.
I don't know. Try and beat my high score. I don't know.
You're actually playing. Ooh, is that like a practice session?
I failed a few times, Williams. That's embarrassing.
Especially, this is the Disney podcast, so we should.
There is no cliffhanger this week. I think we're just at the point where we should probably stop recording things that could be held against us in a court of law.
Please,
it is the Disney special.
To
Lots
grow
of
the
wholesome
show,
family fun. Is that what you call yourself? Hey,
grow the show,
fiance.
Subscribe, please.
Do you want to see the show? We appreciate feedback. Share, like,
share, like,
follow us on Instagram.
Yeah,
First Look Gnomes at Instagram. You'll get daily dad jokes.
But please leave us a 5-star review. And
we do genuinely enjoy doing this podcast as well. It's good fun, and it's nice.
Yes.
It's nice that people are listening, and we genuinely hope you're enjoying it, because if you're not, then there's not much point. Me and Williams could just do it ourselves, and it's nice to be able to share our conversations.
I quite enjoy the little drug feedback bit that we have at the start. So
it's class. It's class. It's class. I think there's random people from all over the world who are hopefully getting some enjoyment out of this. Yeah. All the innuendo and nonsense that we talk about.
What innuendo? What? Okay.
No innuendo, Williams. Before we go too far down the hole, we should probably end it there. I didn't even mean that. You just got.
You did. You did.
You're a liar.
Right. Tune in next.
Bye, everyone. Calm down, mate. I just finished.